with, that wall is going to fall extremely quickly.
Good news is Liquid Anywhere are the team in front of them. They don't have a rampart, but of course Falcons do on the other side. Both of them were kind of looking at them, and I think that's the reason why we see E36 just back away from that one, recognizing they were probably going to be shot by both teams if they stayed there too long. Complexity still holding the top, but C9 might be jumping up on them soon.
Falcons and Liquid are making their move in as well, both on the Tridents by the looks of things. Shubi, he goes down, but we turn our attentions to Falcons now. Slam inside of the body, inside of the bubble, excuse me. The Valk's gonna go up. And who else but E36 looking to win yet another fight. How trying to win this one here for Falcons. Not quite connected, but now we are. Falcons are gone, and it's another team fight for E36 that goes their way.
Can anyone take this team down? Yes, you're down to just a 1 now, but I think I'm still putting my money on them with how they've been playing so far. Falcons eliminated. In the meanwhile, Complexity got taken down, or the majority did, by Cloud9. Only 1 remained from Complexity, and Enter36 will reset here. No one's going to take them down unless the Arcstar doesn't do the damage. Okay, the bubble's going to come up. They're going to get back up to a full 3, baby.
Back on your feet, Soldier. Let's get back into this game. By the way, the amount of KP they have in this game, if they win this game, it could be a huge, huge contributor to if they go through to those match point finals.
10 kills for Enter36 right now. And if they could just keep getting further and further into this final circle, I mean, it would be an incredible finish if they find themselves there. C9 now drop, EXO are taking damage, and the remainder of Complexity also gets eliminated. 7 squads remain.
C9 have just timed that perfectly as well. As EXO Clan with the team behind them, they've fallen. Complexity, a team above, they've gone as well. And now C9 have to climb, but they will be safe inside of that next zone with nobody behind them to worry about. Sorcerer just trying to do a little bit of scouting here, and E36, if they're not careful, they're not going to be aware of the wrap that might be coming from C9. 100 Thieves still alive in this, Liquid Alienware still alive as well, and TSM and GG, the other 2 teams in this lobby alongside Furia.
Liquid Alienware just kind of posturing up at the moment. A little bit of damage. If they can get a knock, you know they're going to send it, but Enter36, the story of this game, cast your mind back to Split 2 playoffs when they were the laughing stock, when they jumped down. But now they are jumping on everyone, and they're winning those fights.
I would not want to be fighting this team right now with how they've been performing so far in this game. When a team is hot, and E36 are hot, you don't want to give them any opportunity to peak.
Worth noting as well, a Valkyrie composition they are running. So they don't have that rampart available to them in this final circle. Neither do they have a catalyst. Bubble has to come down in defense mode.
C9 are trying to push, but look at that A-bomb! A-bomb gets the knock onto Naughty! And now they counter slam, now they slide, and surprise, surprise, it's C9 who are the next victims of E36!
It's just a hit list at this point. You do not want to go up against this team. 6 squads remain, Cloud9 eliminated. Our lobby leaders and our kill leaders in E36, but now the Dark Veil comes down. Fury are going to be holding the south side of this wall. A lot of conflict's going to happen in this building, but Enter36, they can wrap round on the western side if they want, and actually a really good opportunity to still win this game.
100%, they've cleared the entire side of the zone. Now they can completely control the space that they have earned. GG inside of this building. Will they have the time to watch this bubble disappear? Not before Team Liquid Alienware will disappear themselves and send it onto Furia now down in this low ground. Jaguars was a great shot, but hey, surprise, surprise, who wants the kills? It's E36!
They enter with force, and it feels like it's been 36 times this game. As now they have the south, now they have the Newcastle wall, and now they will watch TSM, 100 Thieves, and GG all scrap it out. And they should, in theory, be able to just wait and pick up these pieces.
Q is going to protect them from the bombardment as well, but look at the space comparatively that E36 have. GG make a good move though, just to bubble out and take a bit of space themselves, but they had to use that bubble first to do so. TSM used the bubble last, but look at the armor differentials in this endgame. TSM look weak.
Every bubble's been expended here, and they're all about to disappear. Bang! As everyone now is trying to run through.
TSM, the armor disadvantage might have been too much. Another KP goes to E36. 100 Thieves has gone as well. And here come E36. This could be a monster of a
time you thought they were down, they got back up and they hammered the teams that tried to push them.
21 kills!
21 kills for a 33
in the winners
game.
bracket. We talk about the winners bracket. This exact round as being one of the most difficult lobbies of entire tournaments. E36 have just decimated it.
E36 just went from 7 points, sitting down in the bottom 10, to now being on 40 points in first place in this lobby. A 33-point game.
Oh my God.
No one even came close.
Oh
TSM with 12, still a brilliant game for them. GG with 10, finishing in third place. Liquid Alienware still putting 12 points on the board. A technical third place for them, really, if you look at it. But the big heavy hitters from group stages, Fnatic, Alliance, haven't really been able to get going. It's Enter Force 36 who take all the headlines in match 3.
Speaking of heavy hitters, Dan, I'm surprised. I mean, actually, the one that's missing is the revives, but they didn't go down. It's as simple as that. It's everybody who is contributing from E36. That was one of the wildest, most dominant games that I have seen on Stormpoint from any team. And I feel like at this point, I'm pretty qualified to say it because I've casted and watched a lot of Apex Legends. That goes in the history books, that game. Simple as that. It's a standout performance from everyone on E36. Absolutely ridiculous.
Teams tried everything. They tried third-partying them, they tried ratting on them, they tried just taking them in a straight 3v3, and they could not achieve a win against Enter Force 36, who find themselves on 40 points now. They take over that #1 spot from Liquid Alienware and Aurora. It's getting like we're seeing a big change in the teams that are finding success here. The only team that's really replicating their success from group stages right now is Aurora, but it's still been relatively quiet for Fnatic and Alliance.
Looking down a little bit further as well. Team Falcon's an interesting one because they've been in every endgame, it felt like, but just not picking up KP, which is usually kind of their trademark when they get to those endgames. They're able to clear one side of the zone, win those fights, but not so far, but still a long way to go. Remember, we've got 5 games to go still in this series. A long way to decide who's going to be going through to those match point finals and who's going to have to fight their way through those elimination rounds a little bit later on. But I mean, I'm just kind of in awe, honestly, of what we just saw. That was, I mean, what do you say? Just watch it, enjoy it. And E36 fans who are here, I think they certainly did.
Yeah, it's just one of those games that I think we'll look back on for years to come with the history of Apex Legends, because it could be one that makes the difference when we look at what happens going into Sunday as well. We never know what will end up for Enter Force 36. Does mean we are now moving to World's Edge, though, for maps 4 and 5. Great news for Alliance, who had #1 pick in the draft, and they went for Skyhook West, so a chance for them to catch up the likes of Enter Force 36.
Yeah, had a lot of good positive results as well, Alliance, from Skyhook West, so no surprise to see them maybe wanted to settle down a little bit. Well, one difference, of course, Alliance, you're talking about differences in maybe what happened in the groups and what happened before. Didn't get tried. This is the thing. It's the difference in POI that can make the difference. But, I mean, I'm going to throw it to the desk now because I need to get, you guys and girls' input, because it was one of the most ridiculous games I think we've ever witnessed at LAN, and I'm sure you guys have got an incredible amount of input to have.
I just think good time to do it, right, fellas? I mean, have a game like that, this is the moment, and obviously Interforce playing with the crowd going hype behind him. It's one of those moments you will never not remember if you are a part of the ALGS. Guys, great call as well. Onset and Gaskin bringing us back on the desk. We've got Jamerson, Jayhawk, and I'm joined by the analyst of Team Falcons, Privacy. Welcome back, my friend. We've done a few desk segments together, and I'm happy to say your voice is good for this one.
Sure, it's very good.
He does so much talking all the time that we always have to tell him, just be ready for this moment. Honestly, what have you seen so far? Falcons 15 points sitting in. What's been your take after these 3 games, Privacy?
My take on my team is like the kind of a play we played a little bit like not how the game should be played. We should have been third beacon like every other team. Team like E36, they played it actually perfectly for this game. They played for a third beacon, they maximize their loot. They do it all the time by playing far from the edge and then Valk ults. We do kind of a similar but without a Valk ult with a trident. Bubble on the trident,
yeah.
straight in. E36 is one of the teams that them and CR is one of the best teams in a bubble fight that you can see it even here. It's actually surprisingly those type of
Wow.
teams. Nobody knows about them. They are one of the best in a bubble fight. If you see in this game, they wiped Aurora, they wiped us, they wiped Liquid, they wiped TSM, they wiped all of these teams to win this game. I mean, for us was a little bit close. If we wanted, we'd have been maybe doing the same because that position was good.
Yeah.
They took this small spot because of the Valk ults. These are one of the two teams right now in the lobby that they are utilizing, playing Valk, and they are playing it really perfectly. Furia is the second team, but they are playing it really, I would say, in a little bit better than Furia, utilizing the Valk.
Wow. Let's look at that big win we just talked about. Mark and Dan said it was one of the maybe biggest highlights, biggest wins, biggest moments of a single match they have seen in ALGS history. Certainly an amazing time to do it. Jayhawk, I mean, walking through, obviously, what Privacy is calling one of the best bubble fighting teams and their domination. This was a game that really set Interforce 36 up to get into match point finals.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I don't think a lot of people really expect this out of them, but at the same time, when they get to LAN, they've consistently made finals, and at this LAN so far, they've been popping off. The thing that was the most impressive to me was the different types of fights that they were able to win. They got ratted on against Aurora. They won that one. Like Privacy said, they had a great fight against Falcons, and they just steamrolled from there. They absolutely decimated this lobby in a like that we have not seen at this event so far.
I mean, going against Shopify Rebellion, going against Falcons, none of this stuff is easy. Going against Noctum, Privacy, Synap was a player that Graceful mentioned, thinking he might be one of the best anchors in the world. Do you agree with that?
This is actually one of the opinions of everyone from APAC North. Nobody in EMEA or NA knows him well, but APAC North, all of them says that he's actually the best player individually that improved in the last year.
Wow.
Yes, he is doing really great. His numbers and stats individually are really great, and all the APAC North talks about him very highly.
Synap on the map. Jamerson, this is a team performance that it's hard to not expect them to carry on with this momentum. It's now, how is the lobby going to respond? A 33-point victory for Interforce.
Yeah, again, I think the problem that happened throughout the group stages is that we had a lot of other teams that did end up highlighting. But when we look at the winners bracket once again, it is very even across the board. Only a 40-point split or somewhere around there between our first place team in Alliance all the way down to Green Stego. So this is an incredibly tight pack, and it was just the standout performances that basically outshone everyone else. But Interforce showed that they can stand with the big dogs. 21 kills in a lobby of this caliber is almost unheard of.
I'm not lying, man. There's a lot of teams that feel active. Like, this lobby feels like people came to play. I mean, even TSM, GG, I'm looking at 100 Thieves. They seem live. Jayhawk, looking at these standings, man, who's standing out? I feel like everyone is on A game.
Well, that's the thing. I don't, like you just said, I don't know if anybody individually is standing out. When you look at the placement points across all these teams, from E36 down to Falcons, so many teams have double-digit placement points already.
Yeah.
Because so many different teams are getting into these end games.
What is the success, the factor that determines success the most right now as we head towards our last one in Storm Point? Is it going to be how teams handle those E-District maps? Do you think it's going to be the two Worlds Edge maps when we're only playing two of those? What do you think is going to be the difference that this whole set swings on?
It's gonna be to E-District, because E-District depends on too much on a close quarters fights, and that needs a good team structure in the fightings. So many, not every team in the lobby here has a good team structure fights. I would say 10 to 12 teams are. They will stand out. They will just get those points on E-District. World's Edge, so many teams third picked World's Edge because it was a two games map. So when the POI draft happened, everyone just third picked it, except for Alliance and TSM. I think they didn't know even that it was a two games.
Lack of information in that moment.
Yeah.
A lot is happening. In fact, that POI draft can sometimes set you up for success. You want to join us for the one happening today?
Yes.
Okay, all right, we'll have Privacy back for that one as well. One of the most impressive things is this region, this passion, the pride that we're playing in APAC North. What would it mean for a team from this region to raise a championship trophy in Japan?
From Los Angeles to Mannheim, final destination Sapporo. We are ready to begin where many players around the world have coveted to even join. This place, this moment, 40 teams, 3 players each at the championships for year 4.
The bet goes down, alone to a ball.
We win this game! Go!
Optic will fall! He hits the thing!
You got that! You got it!
It's Exen! It's Exen! With the hostile takeover! TSM!
그때는 사실 처음 이겨보는 거라 사실 거의 실감이 안 나가지고 지금 기억도 잘 안 나는데 그래서 이번 삿포로에서 한 번 더 들어가지고 그 느낌을 다시 느껴보고 싶습니다.
분명히 이기고 그런 것들은 이제 되게 좋아할 일이고 이제 그거는 맞는데요. 제가 에이펙스를 그래도 대회를 여러 번 했잖아요. 몇 년 동안. 그때마다 항상 그 건파이트가 약하다, 매크로가 별로다, 판단이 별로다. 항상 그게 뭔가 마음속에서 뭔가 증명해야겠다 약간 이런 마음이 좀 있었던 것 같아요. 그래서 이제 약간 이겼을 때 약간 보여줬잖아 약간 이런 느낌?
e スポーツの歴史的にも多分ほんの数回しかないこの世界大会開催っていうところで見ると日本で開催される世界大会は自分にとってとても特別なものです。
同じ国の人が頑張ってるっていうのをちゃんと見せれたらなと思います。
やっぱ自分の強さを証明するためのエゴで勝ちます。死ぬ気でやります。
何があっても乗り越えてみせる。やっと戻ってきたこの舞台。チャンピオンになる気持ちを味わってみたい。
이 자리에 오기 위해 많은 노력을 했습니다. 제가 원하는 건 우승뿐입니다.
How many kills do you want on your way to becoming champions? And with two EMEA powerhouses in front of them, it's APAC North again who stand up.
멋진 모습을 보여드리도록 하겠습니다. 무조건 이기고 싶습니다.
1, 2, and it's going to be another huge win for Fnatic!
自分たちが世界一になれることを証明したい。
Fate is indeed calling, and I mean, you're looking at that little feature there. It shows how much it means to APAC North. It shows how much it means to have this event here in Sapporo in Japan, and all the teams know it as well. All APAC North teams and players, they want to make this an event that is remembered as having an APAC North winner. It's just, it lines up beautifully. It's such a big moment for everyone.
Well, it was certainly a memorable match 3 on Storm Point from Enter Force 36 that gave something to scream and shout about in this audience here in Sapporo, Japan. But now we move over to World's Edge for match 4.
It looks like a graphics mistake, 21 kills, right? You know what I mean? It's like, is that meant to be 12? No, it was 21. Everyone, talk us through the POI draft though, Dan, because as you can see on your screen, we mentioned Alliance, didn't get Trident, didn't get what they wanted essentially on Storm Point, but here they have Skyhook West, where they have performed so well historically.
Yeah, Alliance picked first. We didn't have another pick on World's Edge until pick number 11, when TSM came in with Climatizer, 100 Thieves followed up with Thermal Station. And that's because we were only seeing World's Edge twice, so not many teams are prioritizing it. And also, the general consensus seems to be throughout pro players and coaches alike, after the big hitters on World's Edge, the big POIs, everything else is kind of just the dregs. And you know, you take what you can have, doesn't really matter because it all feels quite similar. So instead, people are focusing on Storm Point, focusing on E-District, but we'll have to see whether those that did pick early here on World's Edge can pay off. Will TSM find points? Will 100 Thieves or Alliance find points? Even Exoclan went with Harvester and Green Stego with Monument.
Match 4 is live. It's our first look at World's Edge here on Saturday. And the question is, these three gentlemen who are dropping over at Dome, by the way, is there any chance they can recreate what they just did in the last game?
I mean, they must be playing with so much confidence now. Every single team fight was going their way. I think the only thing that could slow them down would be an early fight lost, and maybe that would just settle them down a bit, being like, all right, let's not get too overconfident, but also, I mean, that might do them good at the same time. So I have to see how it goes as their looting path continues. By the way, Mozambique, the most dropped weapon so far in this tournament, used as just a placeholder to have that shotgun ammo ready in your backpack, but then very quickly switched out for either a Mastiff, a Peacekeeper, or even an Eva 8.
Well, looking at the zone, we are going over to the west side, a little bit north. Expected it maybe to pull to the north side of Landslide here, maybe towards that drill tower. Likes of Guild, you're going to have a pretty good indication of where it's going. Although I'm trying just to look under those names, see if they have a ring console. Could be the case that they don't, but they certainly are going to be looking to hit the vault, and that actually might not be the best idea, because ExoClan are scarpering through this tunnel right now. You can just see it, and might catch a member off guard here from Guild. It's going to be a good zone for C9. Green Stego as well, landing over at Monument. They're going to have good access to this, and Shopify Rebellion over at Mirage. They're going to be pretty happy to see this.
Pretty similar compositions as well, still a 25% pick rate for Catalyst. And speaking of the Vault Tunnel that you were mentioning, ExoClan arriving late, and it's already been cracked open.
Yeah, it looks like Guild are going to have a good idea now where the zone is going, because otherwise why would ExoClan be coming this way unless they had a Vault key, which is a possibility, but also a small one. Team Liquid Alienware kind of overshadowed. We were talking about how good they were fighting previously, and E36 reminded even us that there's levels to good fighting. There is outstanding, elite tier, genre-defining fights. And then there's what Team Liquid Alienware were doing, which was pretty impressive itself.
Over towards Geyser, go next. That to retreat back down to Big Mord, where they're just going to have to hope they can craft and get back up to a full 3 once more, as Guild are just going to be setting up comfortably here on the height. 6th place at the moment, 21 points, and you mentioned it while they were fighting in that in the first game, in the last circle, excuse me. Phony with a point to prove. The previous LAN winner that gets dropped from his squad, parted ways if you want to put it nicer, but was able to join Guild. Can he navigate yet another victory here in Sapporo? Still a long way to go, but certainly being 6th place, good chance of getting to that finals lobby.
Just want to touch on the Phony story as well for maybe some people who are watching for the first time. Like you say, was part of the team, Space Station Gaming, that won Split 2 playoffs in Mannheim, then got dropped, then couldn't find a team in North America, so actually completely relocated his life to the other side of the world to find players to play with in order to be a part of the ALGS Championship. So he really has put it all on the line to be here, to prove that point. And I got to say, I couldn't have more respect, you know, the utmost respect for making that dedicated effort and everything that went into it to be here and to prove yourself. I think it's something that everybody should take the hat off to.
Absolutely, not easy to relocate and change your whole life. But maybe, just maybe, it will all be worth it come the end of Sunday here in Japan. Now Liquid Alienware moving down out of Geyser. I don't think they're going to be picking up anything here. There was a possibility that Go Next would have already been rotating back and they might have taken another fight. They'll just have another look at Hyaka's death box, just added insult to injury. But Falcon's going to be rotating ahead of them, as are TSM up towards Fragment at the moment. Looks like they're going to try and move up a little bit further north.
Something just to highlight on Guild, we saw them a little bit earlier inside a landslide. The only issue for them is there was no Evo harvesters near them whatsoever. So you saw they were on white armors, having to essentially be forced to play the high ground just to get the Evo opportunities of damage output. Alliance, we mentioned Sky West, where they're going to be dropping. Effect is going to be looking to climb. It's VP on top of this building. Effect is catching them off guard. That is a cheeky climb up, but that one is just pure brutality from the end of the Peacekeeper of Hackis.
The pinch we just saw from Alliance, like piranhas in water surrounding their prey, and they came in chomping at the bit, and Virtus.pro eliminated in 20th position. Now, don't get me wrong, I said Alliance, a slow start on Storm Point. That is only because of how well they were playing yesterday, previous days in group stages. But now they're on World's Edge with arguably the best POI. The most picked POI in any draft, by the way, Skyhook West. Can they now start to catch up the lobby leaders? The answer should most definitely be a yes with how they've been playing.
Makes it more impressive that Alliance did what they did on the group stages as well. The fact that Hackis was really sick. He was really struggling, and he's tweeted out this morning. I saw him in the lobby this morning as well, at the hotel, and he said he's feeling much, much better, which is great. Unlucky, I will say, looked like he just rolled out of bed, like he'd been awake for 8 seconds. But he's here. He's certainly performing like a man who got 8 hours sleep.
E36, their rotation, I would try and stay out of their path if I was you, because they are just on a domination roll through of every team that they seem to come across. In terms of zone, though, we're going to continue to see where this heads up. Mark thinks maybe the drill tower. There's a lot of people in Countdown, though, who might be disappointed if it does shift further east.
It's just the only playable spots. Yep,
there you
looks
go.
like it's going there. It's this more traditional end zone, and everyone wanted to be close to where it is, but I mean, you can't play anywhere early. The only place that you really could play maybe is the tower itself, but it looks like Green Stego there, maybe the Vault Tunnel exit, but again, you could get wrapped and forced behind, you're walking into everyone.
Vulnerable, right? I mean,
It's a tough
ramparts
zone.
galore, you're just going to get absolutely destroyed by Sheila. So you have to try and move a little bit later. No Trident to work with to create any indestructible cover either. You can see Furia wrapping on that west side at the moment. 13th position. Do have Valkyrie to reposition later as well. Still only the 2 Valkyries in the lobby, and one of them being E36.
Yeah, Val could be a really good addition, actually, for this kind of zone. Right?
Yep.
You can play it, you don't have to force anything. Play it late. You could even play the other, the eastern side, the monument side of the mountain range, and then send it in early. Essentially, where Noctum Esports are here, they do have next beacon information as well. Their in-console has been hit, so they're going to know where that next zone is pulling. Probably why they're looking to play this side of the zone. That's the drill tower we're talking about. You see the finish just underneath that, around the sort of corners. Team Falcons moving through the Vault Tunnel towards Landslide. Guild still at Landslide, by the way. And Guild, if I'm not mistaken, Guild were playing Loba as well, so they're going to have a black market potentially available for them to help with the bad loot. Or was it, excuse me, someone else might have left one there, but Guild still there, essentially.
Now it's EXO playing the Loba, but they might have used
okay. They
the
left it
Loba
behind.
from EXO, yeah. And I mean, it's a nice present to find. If a black market you just come across, you're like, I can get
Especially
as
if you
many
land in
cells as
Landslide.
I would like.
Landslide, you usually leave with a...
A toothpick and a paperclip.
Pretty much. TSM on the top of Grandma's. Just watching their backs for the wrap from Skyhook at the moment. One team who's still in Skyhook is going to be Aurora. They're making themselves nice and cozy with the zone, as they're more than frequently used to doing. It's going to be an evac tower from Go Next, though, from inside of Monument side. A fragment all the way maybe towards the train tunnel, where Falcons and Guild are waiting on the other side in Landslide.
A lot of teams staying far away from each other at the moment. As I say that, Liquid Alienware, of course. Who else would be trying to take a fight? I think it's Noctum that are on the other side of this, on their rotation through. But I think Noctum were able to surpass Liquid Alienware and will just go through that choke. But after the next zone is when teams are going to start to be forced together a little bit more. A lot of playable space right now, but it very quickly disappears for Hulse goes Burr.
Just letting them know. Just letting Team Liquid Alienware know the TSM are in this position.
I still don't know whose idea it was to give Verhulst a minigun. We used to call him the turret before the minigun was even used.
Well, something that's going to make TSM feel even better is a Mythic Bid, which is spawning right next to them as
again.
well. Green Stego might be thinking about extending to try and get that themselves, but it certainly is going to be available. Reps is having a little cheeky peek at this. It's a difficult position for this Mythic Bid, actually. It's like wrapped around the corner to the right of where Reps is shooting right now. I think that's why he's so desperate to force them away, because if they can get it, it's all red armors for TSM, and then they have that walk-in on the quieter side, so to speak. I mean, you could see how important it is, but just as they probably thought we'd force Green Stego away, here comes Aurora.
Yeah, that's probably the worst team you want to come across when the Mythic Bin is there. And
they
actually,
are bumping heads!
Oh, they are both on top of that Mythic Bin. And I'm sure we'll be joining that interaction shortly, but Green Stego now coming back to have a look at it as well.
E36, by the way. They're at Grandma's.
Oh, no. Oh, this northeast is going to get horrible.
In the water. Team Liquid being forced away. Verhulst standing strong. Minigun in his hand. Gibeon going to go down. I think they've given up on the Mythic Bin because they're going to worry about Liquid.
I think Aurora were able to gain that Mythic Bin, and that's why they're not pushing up on this, because they were more than happy to grab it. But if time goes by, then TSM take too much damage. Aurora might take a second look, as Enter Force 36, by the way, are rotating north. They're not going to be moving in on the area of TSM.
I think there's a Valkyrie coming in from E36.
Yep.
Kraber in the hands of 9 Impulse, so TSM probably ruining the fact they didn't get that mythic bin now because of the fact that it's not just the red Evos they missed out on. What's the best gun in the game? Neozor has been caught out here. He's 1 HP, literal 1, but still alive for now. 1 is good enough.
TSM starting to get a little bit aggressive here, maybe starting to worry that Aurora will be breathing down their necks if they do not do that. As the Dark Veil comes down and Liquid have taken a lot of damage, TSM really want to send this.
So they have to send this. There's only 5 seconds left on this zone. Reps locks on, hits strongly with the Mastiff. TSM certainly in control of this fight. It's a 2v1, but Jaguares is up on the height. Makes it a 1v1, but there is Reps liquidating where will be eliminated. TSM not going to be able to reset comfortably because here come Aurora. Bubble goes down though. The bubble is massive. It should buy enough time for at least a couple of cells to be popped.
Pop the Mirage ult and start to give them the wiggles. See if you can get some bamboozles on the go. Aurora, the only team playing Mirage, as 9 Impulse now. Will back off to join the rest of the squad behind this wall.
Don't have a Newcastle wall to counter slam here either, so this is looking like a pretty comfortable fight here for Aurora. TSM just kind of the pieces left over from that previous fight. Even though they made a valid effort, it's Aurora who have a pretty comfortable job. Now they have to walk their way in though.
Aurora haven't been able to find as much points from World's Edge as the other maps, but if they can actually comfortably reset here and find a position with the Newcastle wall, they might be in a really good spot for this endgame, and they have that Kraber to work with, but at the moment, it is just a matter of trying to survive.
Survive they do. And even though Kajak was taking down that little rock that they were playing.
Uh-oh.
Oh!
Who's next?
Remix Powers. Gets his facial features remixed. Oh, it's 140 on the tower as well. 9 Impulse is rocking.
And most importantly, he forces them back. He forces them to not be able to do any damage to his team, and they can reposition and find somewhere to call home here. And the castle wall used effectively to create a mini base. And now there is a real threat in this lobby of Aurora holding this position with a Kraber.
Yeah, this spot is so good towards the end game as well. It's one of the places outside of the huge tower that, by the way, E36 are on top of now. The drill tower, probably Valcoed onto that. We didn't quite catch that one. But Aurora looking outwards are going to be able to pick up so many kills. I mean, you look at what they've got. Red armors, they've got the Kraber, Gold Eva, literally fully kitted. Aurora could be on for some KP and big point game.
Well, Fnatic have not been able to get going so far here in the winners bracket, but maybe this could be the game that changes. Let's jump into Elicit and check out Fnatic.
Noctum Esports jump onto Fnatic as they land and take them down without taking a tick. Such a good fight from them just to protect that space that they have under the tower.
So a lot of these teams being forced into one another. There are still 4 more who have to move on this west side, by the way. 100 Thieves do get eliminated. Alliance trying to hold out a couple of squads as Crazy Raccoon also go down.
Catwall down as well. C9 trying to buy some time, buy some space. But they're now getting pushed by Complexity. Complexity ascended it, but that just means as the catwall falls, the curtain falls as well, and it's going to be Alliance who enter from stage left. A clear wipe for them. Complexity gone, C9 gone, and Alliance pick up some KP.
Yeah, I think Alliance will be happy to now own a lot of this real estate on the western side, but there is still Shopify Rebellion just below them. Fury are currently amidst a real troublesome scenario as well. Go Next do get eliminated. Shopify Rebellion survive.
Alliance though, as well, if I wasn't mistaken. Unlucky. Good damage again with that Mastiff. Trying to play around the bubble. Effect's going to get that first knock on a quick.
And Alliance should be able to clean this up comfortably, but Shopify Rebellion, if anyone can do it as a 2, you never really know, as now GS, Green Stego, they were forced away from that position and they have wrapped round on this northern side. Oh! And Shopify Rebellion back up.
Big slam, but there's the counter slam, and now Dexter is forced back. And even though Alliance are weak, they're still on their feet. As Green Stego try and take this battle against the Lions. Looking for the armor swap is going to be Ziki. Asia trying to fly in, has to go through the catwall, has to deal with the knockdown. And Effect are unlucky. They're coming back with some more, but they get absolutely destroyed. It's you, Effect. And there he is once more, that man who just knows how to win those fights.
Sadly, he's going to have to go up against 3 of Shopify Rebellion, who were able to reset whilst Greenstego did push up on them. But now, Shopify Rebellion also looking towards GG. Koifu has been insane so far this tournament. He was the kill leader coming into today's action as Alliance get eliminated.
Shopify Rebellion been in some great spots so far in these games we've had, but just not been able to close out those big moments. Well, speaking of big moments, here's Big Red in the hands of 9 Impulse. 4 shots left, and you don't want to stand still if you're a Gibby, as Falcons will be eliminated.
Falcons make it late again, but again, they don't find themselves in that final zone with very little kills to work with. Shopify Rebellion now fighting tooth and nail to stay alive. Koifu does get back up, but now it's all down to empty.
Gaming Gladiator has gone as well. Aurora on the low ground. E36, by the way, looking to go back-to-back in a little bit of a different style to what we saw in that last game. This time it's been about the spot they found, holding it for the long game and looking to execute late. 5 squads now remain in this lobby, and you can see them all on your screen.
And now a final circle like this, for a team like ExoClan, for example, this is where you need to be picking up points. This could be your opportunity to find a chance to be in that grand final. If you allow opportunities like this to slip through your fingers, you have to ask, will you get another chance at it? As Aurora just slowly moving on the southeast. And I love this final circle. We've had so many historic moments happen here throughout ALGS. You think back to what Hardeki was able to do in a similar area as well. Well, Hardeki used to be a member of this Aurora squad. Maybe they can start to do what he did once.
A little bit of a bamboozle. Something to point out as well, it looked like 9 Impulse dropped those, or used maybe, the last couple of bullets from that Kraber. Swapped it out, he's now running double shotgun. He's got an Eva and he's got a Peacekeeper.
2 Valkyries in the lobby, 2 Valkyries in the final circle. Definitely worth noting here, and something that I'm sure the rest of the lobby is going to be keeping an eye on as we progress through this tournament with composition changes and what benefits you on certain maps. E36 are going to be at the very tippy top. Noctum just below them, and everyone else is skirting these rocks, using anything they can find for coverage here so that they don't get shot by E36.
I mean, E36 in a great position, but winning the game from the top of the tower sometimes can be a little bit difficult because you have to drop at some point. And we always talk about, if you drop from height, you're going to be stunned and you're not gone up to fight almost immediately.
Other option, they could go up. Do have
Even
a skyward dive. Just gives you that extra little bit of time if you need it for everyone else to start looking at each other. We had our first ever Mirage win on land, according to Aurora, so far this tournament. Could we be witnessing another?
Oh, 9 Impulse is going to try and give E36 a few cooking lessons here. He throws a couple of thermites. He's got a third one in the back pocket as well, and he's certainly going to be singeing at the hairs, maybe not quite burning at the flesh. Aurora now going to try and climb up.
Oh, I love
that
this.
Second floor is so smart. E36 can't do anything about this, and neither can the teams below for now.
Oh, Aurora are going to avoid so much damage by holding this position as well. It's going to force some of those low ground players to take a battle against one another. No one wants to take the first fight right now. Everyone trying to avoid this damage.
The zone pulls closest to Exo. Everyone else might have to move first. Aurora, second place in the overalls at the moment. Already won a game. A little bit earlier on store point as Furia now will be one of the first teams who are forced to engage. E36 now have to drop. And with the way they were fighting in the previous game, it wouldn't surprise you if they managed to clutch it out. But here, up in the skies, you can hear the Creed lyrics as Aimbot says, I can take you higher. Drops into the final circle. Aurora will win it though. And that's their second win. In our winners bracket, Aurora take 2 out of the 4 games.
It's another land victory for Mirage. It's another win for Aurora, as they get 1 foot in the door to this grand final here at the ALGS Championship, as they push themselves back up to that #1 spot. They are on 56 points now, which I have to imagine, Onset, with how these points have been sponged up by teams right now, should be enough to get them in the grand final already. What an interesting final circle it was, trying to navigate your way around the drill tower, but Aurora played it perfectly, able to get on that second floor, avoid the commotion down low, and then joining just at the right time.
Incredible stuff from Aurora, seriously. I mean, the first couple of games we've seen from them, well, the first couple of wins that we've seen from them today, everyone has been expertly navigated. And there's a couple of moments you always look back on, right? The fact that they cleared out the eastern side of that zone where TSM were, where Team Liquid Alienware were, and I think the timing that they got on that Mythic bin as well to give them those red armors, really important, because the Kraber that also popped up out the back of that kept them alive. The shots, remember, that 9 Impulse hit as they were trying to rotate in from that little ridge line is what kept them alive and managed to let them reset for that end game. Really, really well done from Aurora. 12 points from the placements, 10 kills is going to give them the 10 points and 22 points in the bag. And like you say, they got 1 foot in the finals.
Well, End Up Force 36 also may have 1 foot in the finals as well. A second place finish, no kills, but 9 points on the board, job done. They utilize Valkyrie's Skyward Dive, they get on top of the drill tower, and then also use Valkyrie in that final circle just to stay out of all the madness and play for second place. Whilst, yes, okay, you're not going to get the plaudits of a first place and have the big game, but they've done that already.
Yeah.
They don't need another one. They say, Aurora, you can have another one. We'll just take second for now.
It's always felt decent of them. They were like, do you know what? We got a lot of kills in the last game. You guys have a go at it.
We don't need any more
kills. You can
kills.
play the game. Aurora, top of the series. As you can see in our series results in winners round 1, 56 points for them already inside 4 games as we hit the halfway point. End Up Force 36, like you mentioned, just behind them on 49, but I always have to look who's holding down 10th spot. And what is the chasing pack behind that? Because the top 10 are the ones that qualify for the match point finals. ExoClan at the moment just about holding on level on points with Gaming Gladiators.
And whilst it doesn't always work out this way, but when you're halfway through, you look at how many points have been accumulated at the halfway spot. It was 20, so that would give you an initial number of maybe 40 being the cutoff. Of course, it doesn't always work like that, but that is an easy way to try and give yourself an idea of where it may be. Some of the bigger teams are down in that bottom 10 though, so it is a little bit worrying already. This is when the nerve starts kicking.
Yeah, it certainly has been an incredible first 4 games. It's been really interesting to see some of the end zones that we've had to experience as well. Some of them a little bit built up, but quite a lot of open ones, to be honest with you. And I think there's a lot to take away from those first 4 games. Of course, we've still got some stuff to go. We've still got some matches to come. 4 of them as we hit the halfway point. Don't go anywhere. We've got 4 more matches coming your way in just a few moments.
Battlebeaver, the official controller of the Apex Legends Global Series.
Herman Miller, the official chair of the Apex Legends Global Series.
Парни. Да, как обычно. Бабл пройдет сейчас, смотрите, они защищают. Вверх, 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 Кирюх, вверх. Бабл дал.
Над нами стреляют.
Да, я дал, бабл дал. Все, верхняя упадет, смотрите.
Не надо падать, парни, я падаю.
Бег убил. Касл убил, ласт чел.
Поставься куда-то там.
Убил еще одного.
Меня ёбну. Сзади, парни, на мне. Держите щит. Нету больше.
Ласт хват. Да!
Я умер сам.
Хорош!
Welcome back, everyone, to the winners' first round. My name is Dia, and I'm joined by Graceful in Daiwa House here in Sapporo, Japan, for the ALGS Championships, the biggest ALGS Championships the world has ever seen. And if you've been watching since this morning, you've seen an incredible show go down, not just actually in Apex Legends, but even before that, when we had Sim performing the very first anthem of the Apex Legends Championships.
I mean, seeing the band playing those two songs was phenomenal. Not only that, but also getting these two, seeing these early series was great. All these pop-ups, we saw the biggest kill game in the entire tournament so far. We saw other teams outside of the ones that everybody was kind of assuming would do really good, enter 36.
Enter Force 36 looked like a very different team than we saw in the group stage. And I say that not because they were poor in the group stage by any means, but because they weren't that dominant. In fact, I was actually looking at teams like Noctem today to wonder whether or not they would be continuing the group stage monstrosities that they became during that time. But instead, we're starting to find other squads that are stepping things up. And in Winners Round 1, I'd say there's no more important time to do so, because for many teams, this can be the last time that you play before finals on Sunday.
Yeah, most definitely. And like I said before as well, and I think they brought it up on the desk, that Synap for me has been my MVP so far. And seeing not only team step up, but individual players stand out from the crowd, because a lot of the times, we tend to talk about the team as its whole. But when we see individuals step out and do things for the team, and it's not always, a lot of the time it's almost always the fragger in a sense, because that's the most flashy, I would say, role. But now seeing Synap, kind of playing the in the middle and also anchoring a lot of the time, doing such a wonderful job has just had me breathless backstage.
There's been a lot of space for different skill expression in this meta, especially with Newcastle. We've talked about Newcastle quite a bit, but the flexibility of that legend has led to a lot of different roles being taken on within a team. For example, Newcastle, of course you want to be the last person to go down so that they can pick everybody back up. But you also so often have Newcastle's being that very aggressive player that has to take the front and center of a fight, because they're opening things up now with the castle wall.
Yeah, and the coolest thing in regards to role is that due to the fact that it's double support meta, and triple support in rank, is that although we've had defined roles before as a frontliner, as the anchor, now in this meta it's kind of like, sure, Newcastle wants to go down last because he can actually rest while still participating-ish in the fight, but you're kind of like interchanging roles all the time, and that's so interesting to see, because hey, normally it's just the front line going in, when they're low you step up a little bit, but now it's actually like, no, I will eat the first shotgun shot for you, you step in for me, and then we keep rolling this. You keep trading damage in between all of your teammates rather than just having one guy taking all the pressure. Now it's just like you're getting triple swung by triple Mastiff in bubbles, and then a random Sheila comes out of nowhere, and then like somebody goes down and they get dressed, everybody starts healing. It's chaotic in a good way because it's very entertaining to watch. It might be a little bit hard to tell in all of the fights exactly what's happening, especially when there's 4 bubble on the screen, but like nonetheless, I don't think we can dispute it. It's very entertaining.
Speaking of Sheila, even Rampart play has evolved pretty significantly, which is weird because in this meta, Rampart is actually pretty one-dimensional. Yeah. She's there to do a very specific thing. But at the start of the tournament, I mean, we were seeing Ramparts just blow through people with Sheila all the time. It was every team fight was a clip of somebody with the Sheila, specifically Verhulst and Koifel, who have been going wild.
Yeah, and the Sheila specifically as well. We've seen people already like grow as a ramp player in this tournament. How many times did we not see in the early series where a Rampart would pull out the Sheila instead of the shotgun in bubble fights and then get punished for it? They're like, oh, I'm gonna rev up, and then they're dead. Or they're just spraying and they get jiggle pigged and they die. Now we're actually, I think it was in the last match before, probably in every match that we just probably won't see every fight, right? I saw somebody start with the Sheila, change his mind, and then pull out the Mastiff, and then actually did work with the Mastiff, and I'm like, that's a player who's gotten punished enough to they know where no, the shotgun is actually better in this scenario. And when you're that aware and you're learning from your mistakes, you know, the sky is the ceiling, really.
Yeah, and you're going to be reaching that ceiling mighty soon, as we have got 4 maps left in this first round of the winners bracket. We will be returning to World's Edge for the second and final time this series.
Yep.
So this map not seeing nearly as much play as Storm Point earlier. They got 3 maps, and then E-District that will follow it also with 3 maps.
And E-District, I keep talking about it, I love it. It's growing on me, Could also be because we've been playing World's Edge for forever, it feels like at this point, an eternity. But E-District, however, has been wonderful. Not only to, you know, watch and spectate as well, but playing in ranked feels great.
I mean, I've really been enjoying my own time on E-District, and what's really stood out to me is the way that our pro players are able to make use of the map. We are starting off this 4th match. Remember, our final time on World's Edge for these teams. For some of them, the final time on World's Edge before they see each other on Sunday.
Yeah, indeed. I think that we're gonna see a couple of teams bounce up and down due to the fact that, you know, sure, the last game was kind of a tight match overall across the board with points. It's kind of even actually in this series, but I think now that we're getting to this point in the tournament, it's the same thing I said yesterday. Once you hit that close to the 6 games match, everybody gets tensed up, everybody gets stressed. You start throwing Hail Marys for something to stick. And even yesterday, we saw tiebreakers. We saw teams like Team Burger just made it into top 10. I think everybody, it's gonna be ecstatic.
And there are teams that are really adapting to the pressure, maybe to the change of quality in these lobbies as well. Aurora really standing out, of course, but statistically even, it's backed up. Aurora have been looking really good in terms of damage differential, from negative 7,000 damage dealt in ratio to how much they took during the group stage. They now are dealing on average positive 3k damage. They're doing a wonderful job, and now playing out of survey camp, they've also got a great increase in KD that has followed that, jumping them up to an average of 4 KD per match in the winners round 1. Let's see if they can keep that up, as they do have a zone closing pretty close to them. TSM over at Climatize are going to have an easy rotation as well. Alliance at Skyhook is going to be really interesting to watch, as they could choose to early rotate, but I would be very surprised to see Alliance do that.
Alliance and Aurora right next to each other once again. It happened in the series as well, where both of them were actually in the top 5 almost all the time. Go next here. This rotate is one of my least favorite on this map, because you always fight teams on these chokes. You know, the choke has slopes on 2 ways, so you can't really tell if somebody's trailing you behind you, and then you don't know if somebody's in the opposite choke right next to you, which they could just 3-pit a fight if you do end up, you know, going for a fight. And it's just something you have to be aware of. It seems like both teams are aware that they're saying, hey, if we fought immediately, things might have been different. This one is taking too long. If we stay here, we're bound to get hit by somebody who's doing their macro right now. They both disengage, and awareness, I like that.
And Liquid Alienware specifically are a very dangerous team to be running up against in this winners round 1. They've adapted in such a way that their mid-game rotations, or early game rotations I should say, have become so much more deadly than they were during the group stage. We used to see this squad sort of playing with everybody else, pretty quiet, pretty small, mid-early games until the late game, where they'd eventually either do or die. And at this point, they're actually playing the mid-game in very aggressive ways, where they are often finding kills, I think most notably on Fnatic during the first couple of games.
Yeah, Fnatic was definitely struggling the first couple of games, but, you know, they can always make it back. A lot of the teams that, you know, we tend to look at always has that X factor to them. They could at any point just awaken and steamroll, and I mean, we saw it with several teams yesterday, even LG. We saw Falcons had a little bit of a slow start, and then all of a sudden, boom, they became super consistent, like we all know they can and should be. And that's kind of the thing at this. Everybody's adapting to the pace of the lobby. You know, they're adapting to, you know, how is everybody's macro doing, how are people fighting, and I think that they're kind of used, like we said before, different stages of the game, and it looks like to me, Aurora is more than confident in this level, you know, at this stage of the tournament. They're like, this is exactly how we know it plays out. This is why we're winning. This is why we're killing so much. And E36 as well, specifically. Their 3Ping and team fighting and bubble fighting so far has been crazy good.
Yeah, timing is everything for especially the kind of play that E36 have been giving us. We do have a short match pause so far, so we will be waiting to get that resolved so that our players can continue in their second World's Edge game of the day. It does look like we're going a little further north. We were looking at the zone earlier, Graceful, and this one will be bringing us, as we said, over near where Aurora were at Survey Camp, maybe a little bit further south over into that Epicenter Monument area. But we've got plenty of teams that are going to be around the south end of the map as well. Game Gladiators and Enterforce 36 both sitting around the dome.
Yeah, I mean, for me, these zones are kind of scary because this is one of the most typical, even if you don't have a lot of edge teams playing in this lobby and this match specifically, a lot of people tend to take edge teams' tendencies. And one of them that I'm thinking about specifically is that since this is collapsed around the northern platform where a lot of people call grandmas, I like to call those houses with the wrench mechanic, teams tend to rotate through Skyhook up the choke really late, even when the zone is closed, like in 2 zones closing even, like Circle 3 closing, Circle 4 closing even, you can still medkit that. And the scariest part is that you are never sure when your side is clear. One of the coolest thing here though is that I saw that Aurora is actually rolling with Mirage, you know, enabling you to get everything, all the perks is crazy with, you know, with his newest perk added to him. And that could be very beneficial. Alliance, like always, we saw from Skyhook playing very slow, very calm. Will be late, but will even they be ready for the next team? That I will assume we'll see at least 2 more teams rotating through Skyhook, and the collapse that normally happens on the, you know, on the west side of the map or even on the southern side of the map, this will actually focus more towards the north, I believe.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. And I want to touch on the Mirage pick for Aurora specifically as it relates to their play style. I mean, this is a team that we typically see trying to get triple reds as fast as possible and then go and farm other teams. And especially when you've got Mirage and the ability to make use of all class passives, you also have so many more avenues through which to get Evo.
Yeah, and this is one of the biggest things that I love and I hate. So for me, I feel that, you know, when you build Evo, it should be some type of risk and reward. Back in the day, we used to have higher requirements to Evo upgrade, and the only real avenue to get Evo was damage. Now, you know, we have several avenues, like you're saying. We have beacons, we have ring consoles, we have a brick in the crate that might come down, we have from resting, we have from, you know, there's so many different ways you can get level up on your Evos. And when you add Mirage on top of that, as you get everything, yeah, they're gonna level up real quick. My question is now, how long are they gonna stay in the zone? Because they know, I think both Alliance and Aurora know specifically that are playing on the same side on the map, Edge, is that they're both out there lurking. So how long do you want to stay? Because we saw them clash in the previous, not the previous, but earlier series, where when you're right next to teams with the same playstyle, it's gonna be rough. And we see it on the opposite side of the map as well with Gaming Gladiators and Enterforce 36. They're playing the same macro.
You can tell that Graceful and I are very excited to get into the game, and as much as I want to keep breaking this down, I am going to give our players a chance to you know, continue working things out and hopefully get back into the game soon. While we wait, however, we have this special opportunity to catch Ryan as he spoke to some of the fans earlier in the audience later. Now, I don't get the privilege of speaking to many of the fans here because I don't speak a whole lot of Japanese, but that is something that is not holding Ryan back. So let's hear from our fans here in the Sapporo Dome.
What does it mean to you personally to have the ALGS Championship represented here in Japan, in Sapporo, Hokkaido?
So like I'm Japanese, and then having my team in here, like it's so precious for me. And then it's first time the ALGS coming to Asia, and I'm so like proud of it as Asian, and I'm so happy about it.
This is my first LAN game, esports LAN tournament I've ever been to. There's like so much around here in this fan base and like this. And I've never met any players in real life, and like players are super nice as well.
すごいかっこいいんですよね、フリーが。手に入れてどんな感じなんですか？いやもう最高です。いやもう一生の思い出です。ですよね。So I asked him about his hoodie, and he is absolutely over the moon that he got to get this, and he said it's a memory that's going to last forever.
私もう50今6なんですけど、3年前からやってて、でも全然下手っぴなんで勉強してます。わかりました。ありがとうございます。
So yeah, she's been playing for 3年間も 3 years. She's been playing for 3 years, and she's really into the game, and she's just exhilarated to be part of this action. で、ALGS チャンピオンシップが札幌まで来て、 どう思われますか？
いや、自分は北海道に住んでるので、とても最高です。楽しいです。はい。
So he's absolutely over the moon. He's from Hokkaido, so having ALGS Championship here is absolutely a dream come true for him. I'm going to let these two get on and get their sign that they really need, and I'll see you guys for the next one.
Very nice to hear from the fans around the arena, Graceful. I mean, I know that you've actually been popping out and interacting with some folks as well, so it's gone pretty well out there, right?
Oh yeah, the fan zone is incredible. You know, I've almost feel bad running around too much and just, you know, interrupting people because they've been enjoying themselves so much, really. You know, taking photos. There's the cool heirlooms out there, all the booths, all the, you know, getting to meet people, meet and greets are out there as well. It's just, you know, gaming brings us together, Apex brings us even closer, and now when you get to share the culture and stuff as well, this is my first time in Japan. It's been, all of them are so kind.